Welcome to Pending and Trending. I am your host, Deidre Quinn, and this podcast is all about helping real estate agents stay ahead in today's fast-moving market. With over 20 years of experience and a passion for building relationships, I bring you the latest tips, trends, and strategies to elevate you and your business. Whether you're looking to dominate a niche, stay sharp on industry shifts, or build your own generational wealth, you are in the right place. Let's get to it, because what's trending today can get you pending tomorrow. Welcome back to Pending and Trending, where growth, wealth, and purpose-driven business intersect. Today's guest is near and dear to my heart, someone who knows how to turn clarity into currency. John Duffin is the founder of Duffin Media, host of Your Message Received podcast, a seasoned realtor, and a master of communication. He helps professionals sharpen their message, own their own voice, and connect with confidence. Because when your message is clear, your business grows. John is all about clarity, authenticity, and results. If you are looking to level up your mindset, elevate your presence, and communicate with purpose in a way that drives results, this episode's for you. So John, thank you so much for being a guest today. I appreciate you, and I'm so happy to have you here. Let's dig right in.
Hey, I didn't mean to talk over you, but I'm thrilled to get to be here.
I appreciate you. So let's dig right in.
Sure.
And we talked a little bit before we even started about the power of preparation and just even preparing to do a podcast or preparing to do anything you do. So can you weigh in on how that preparation builds trust and how it eliminates nerves and how it benefits overall?
Happy to. So again, I'm delighted that I get to watch and be a part of your podcast and watch you in action. I'm a friend and I'm also a fan. And to answer the question as it regards to preparation, right off the bat, one of the things that I came to learn, I'm grateful for the background that I've had, which is that was drilled into me. I have over 25 years of experience in regards to executive sales, executive management, broadcast, radio, television, streaming, advertising. And one of the things that we were drilled into doing was making certain that we were buttoned up and prepared. And so the reason, as I learned, that it matters so much is, number one, the easiest way to lock in to someone is to honor them simply by doing your homework. So number one, people do appreciate that you tried to learn something. You don't have to have all the answers when you question someone. No one's expecting you to.
Sure.
That's why you're asking.
Right. Yeah.
But when you do your homework, whether it's guests on a podcast, whether it is in a client meeting or on a stage, all stuff that I'm grateful that I get to do, that people understand you did your homework. So what does it do? It draws them in. It draws them in a little bit more closely, and they're honored. Shout out to somebody, speaking of preparation. So I have a relative in my family who does a lot of television interviewing. Her first name is Sheila, so I won't out her. She's amazing. And one of the things that I learned from Sheila is the ability, why you do your homework. And what she has said was she does a lot of preparation to simply not ask the exact same questions that everyone else has asked, whether it's a celebrity or a VIP or whatever. She doesn't want to bludgeon them with the same old questions. And what happens is then the guests are, again, naturally drawn in, and that sense of connection that I talk about just comes much more quickly. And lastly, results come because people want to work with people, the old cliche that they know and trust. And right. So if you're doing, and when you're doing your homework, those results come much more quickly. And when you don't, that's when you often hit a brick wall. So that's why it's critically important for me to be buttoned up anytime that I'm on having a conversation, including today.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing that with our listeners, and I appreciate you sharing Sheila's perspective. That's great. That's great. What's the difference between being ready, John, and being rehearsed?
Oh, God, great question. I love that. Ready, the sense of readiness enables you to be able to be fully present in a conversation. So there's the tip, which is you want to be fully present in the conversation. You need to listen completely. The easiest, when you're distracted with your own thoughts, I better forget it. Better
So
not
easy
forget.
to do.
Oh my gosh, right? But here's the thing. The better you are, the more ready you are, the more natural the conversation flows. So the best benefit of readiness is that everything becomes conversational because you're not so worried about, don't forget this, and I hope I didn't say that. You don't judge yourself, you're not stopping flow. Rehearsed, on the other hand, is more to me like memorization. What I tell everyone, my clients, anyone that's kind enough to listen to me, at memorization, memorize the story, memorize what you've prepared. Do not memorize singular words or bullet points. Never do that because all it will do is make you sound forced, fake, or not engaged. And
Right.
so that's the last thing you want. I can improvise better when I'm completely ready.
That's great. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for
Sure.
sharing that. Let's get into talk about mindset and communication and how does mindset affect your tone, your delivery, your confidence, and your overall energy? Like you always speak with so much energy, and it makes you such a fun person to talk to because you have so much energy. How does mindset play into that?
First of all, thanks for saying it. That's so nice. I always feel that just makes me happy when somebody says that. So here's the deal.
It's
Uh,
true.
Even better. So what I would say is that mindset is almost an overused term. So what I try to instill in people is this. Mindset sometimes can be perceived as a fake sense of confidence, like you talked about rehearsed earlier.
Right.
And what mindset is can be long range, and I always recommend long range mindset training. Whether, like I said, I've worked with therapists, I do the work is what I suggest to anybody. But you can also practice situational mindset, and that's what I tend to specialize in. How can you quickly snap your mind into gear in the right moment? And so I was never the overly confident type. Never. Not growing up, not when I was younger. It probably took me, it's not that I wasn't successful, it was just much more of a people pleaser, is how I got results in the sales. If you're the client, who wouldn't want to have a people pleaser? They just snap their fingers and I just go running, you know what I mean? Like a
Right.
harried waitstaff person. So they loved it, right? But it certainly wasn't fulfilling, and you certainly weren't as successful as you could be. Some life circumstances hit me, especially around the age of 40. Some difficult things that I put myself through. Not necessarily that I went through, that I put myself through. And I was withholding a lot of information. That was my former MO. I was always deathly afraid if you found out or you found out. Crazy stuff. Coming out of the closet when I was 40, and I held that in. Was always afraid of what you think. Drinking way too much, was it a cause and effect thing? I don't know. But
Right.
when I faced that stuff, for some reason I got a lot more clear. Because, and when we talk about clarity over and over, one of the very first things in regards to mindset is if you're all jammed up with stuff leaving the house or driving the car in traffic, everything's compounding, especially when you're holding in longer term things. You just
Right.
don't have the bandwidth. So, what do you do? Which is, first of, yes, do the long term work. But when you're in a situation, the easiest way for me to do an immediate turnaround is two things. Number one, first and foremost, really focus on the matter at hand. Don't freak the person out, but literally fully come into a conversation. No one is expecting the slap happy version. It doesn't have to be. How do you focus? Number one, ask a lot of questions. Go back to the preparedness and readiness part. Ask a lot of decent questions to enable conversations to flow. What does that do? It puts you in a mindset of more confidence. That, in turn, enables you to speak differently. So, my energy does not always have to be raw cheerleader. And that was the most important thing that I learned. Because often the raw cheerleader was not authentic. So the easiest way to utilize my mindset in situations, again, really focus on the matter at hand. And if you're having or the matter, the person or people. And also that in addition, be ready, ask good questions, allow the other person to come into the conversation too. Two of my favorite tips.
Excellent. Excellent. So two tips from John is focus on the matter at hand and ask a lot of questions.
Oh, and I'll give you one more. Here's your bonus for 3. By the way, I throw in, I haven't done it in a little while. I have a run coming up in August, but I'm, in this case, not as prepared. But I talk about a body of evidence. And the short version of the story is I learned this from my therapist. And when I was going through a personal matter, right? I talk about a body of evidence. I also talk about the Navy SEALs breathing technique. I was not a Navy SEAL. No one mistakes me for one. But the fact of the matter is, we both work in business and they're both really quick. And so, want to be in a good mindset, you're nervous about ready to walk into a meeting, whether it's a listing appointment, whether you're trying to get a new buyer, whether you're trying to close a transaction and you're a little bit off, Navy SEALs breathing technique. 16 seconds. You got 16 seconds.
That's
Literally,
good.
it is you got it. Here you go. 4 in. Hold for 4. Deep exhale for 4. Hold that for 4. You're done.
Ready.
Now,
That's great. Love it.
Life or death panic attack breathing technique that Navy SEALs use. It is literally 16 seconds. They are doing it in life or death situations.
Love it.
So,
Love it. Amazing.
the reminder, you are not probably in a life or death situation for your listing appointment or your new coaching clients or to guest on a podcast.
Right.
This is legit. Now, the body of evidence part. Again, transactional quick. As you're in the 16 seconds, you're not doing anything else, right? Plant a seed in your mind. And I call this the body of evidence. Everybody has done something cool that they feel good about. This is not a competitive sport. Mine is this and yours is that and mine's not any good. Don't. Everybody has done something cool. Deidre, I'll put you on the spot and I'll ask you, what's one thing in your life that you've done that you feel good about?
Oh my goodness, you're really putting me on the spot here.
Anything. And I mean anything. Not the most important. Anything.
Yeah. I think it really makes me feel good when I do something for someone else. If I call people that I don't talk to all the time on
Yeah.
Mother's Day or Father's Day
Yeah.
and wish them a happy holiday, or if I bring somebody flowers, or if I just do something that's a small gesture just to let them know I care, that's really makes me happy and makes me feel good.
So first off, it should. It's great. It's a beautiful personal touch. I loved the way that you soften when you say that. And I say that as a high compliment, right? When anyone, a little bit softer and you're not quite as armored up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You are more likely to connect and engage. So that is perfect, what you just said. It's perfect. And folks, so here's the rub. As you're doing the 16 seconds,
Right.
think about that. Think about that. And the only homework assignment for anyone watching, listening, is simply this, which is have a couple of things ready. You talked about readiness earlier. Here's a great example. Don't worry if yours is as good as mine or not as good as hers or theirs. Or don't worry. It just has to be good for you. And so when you are doing that 16 seconds of breathing, 16 seconds, remember, this is not a day project. 16 seconds, think about something cool you've done. It locks in confidence. And when you are confident, you are so much more clear, and you've removed some basic unnecessary bandwidth. You've gained bandwidth, I'm sorry, by removing baggage and distractions, which enables you to be more clear. So if you took that, I said 2, now you got 3. Breathe for 16 seconds, and as you're doing it, think of something cool that you've done, and honest to God, it will absolutely light you up when you're ready to keep going.
Love it. That's such a helpful tip. Such a helpful tip. Thanks
Thank
for sharing that, John. That was fun. That
Yeah,
was fun.
thank you.
So let's switch gears a little bit here,
Sure.
John. And you talk about love connections on
Mhm.
your website and on
Yeah.
some things that I was looking at. So what does that mean,
Mhm.
and why does it work, and what can you tell us about it?
Thank you for that. I laugh because I stole the line from an old television show that used to air, I think it aired in Philadelphia, called Love Connection. And so it was on, oh my God, probably 35, 40 years ago. The old game show host, Chuck Woolery, used to. Why did it matter? It certainly wasn't based on the content of the show. It was as light as cotton candy in terms of depth. Two strangers meeting, think Love Island, but with a lot less fanfare. But I like the name. So here's the deal, the love connection part. One of the strongest things that occurs, and it has worked with me, that I've experienced, and I've learned that it's transferable, is that in order to navigate business, businesses are relationship driven, right? There's no other way around it. So, how do you forge and enhance a relationship? And think about this, because people make decisions based on what they feel. Sure, you might want to think it's your 47 slide listing presentation. You might want to think it's all of the comps that you brought to the party. You might want to think that you can rattle off all the restaurants in the neighborhood. But let me tell you, really what it is, it's the ability that somebody thinks, oh, they're cool, and they'll look out for me. That sense of connection leads to trust, and connection leads to stronger relationships. And I'll share an experience. So, you had a guest on very recently who I absolutely love to death, and he has helped me tremendously. And that is Chris Stevens. So, that is a very recent podcast guest.
Yes, it
And
is.
who knew he had a middle name? Who knew? Right?
Bella, yeah.
Ella, right?
I love it. I had to
I,
use.
honest to God, I'm like, oh my God, it's all right. Mine's Matthew, by the way, but I stole that directly from my dad. And so,
Love that too. Love that too.
but here's what I was going to say, that there was an evening, I got the first chance that I got to speak in front of an audience for money, which, by the way, doesn't count the almost 500 times I did it in executive sales and television sales. I'm not, it's amazing that I'm saying it's the first time. It's about the 501st time. But it was the first time I was speaking on my own with my own and I had never done it before. And I remember I got to do this for a Wolf of Broad Street event, and it was a real estate driven event, and I had to speak for 10 minutes and then and then host an event for 2 hours. I was the lead host. So as I
Okay.
called it in front of the audience, this is a lot of John Duffin, and I hope you're okay with that, right? So we talk about readiness and preparedness, and I'm asking the organizers a million questions, and everything's working, right? And so the day of the event, I'm there to do a sound check, and I'm going to tell you, I got there a little too early. What do I mean? I was there too early and had too much idle time on my hands. So I start to play mental games with myself. And folks, I use this stuff, but I don't always remember to use it. So I can remember getting freaked out and the room was big. Like it held a few hundred people and I couldn't even see to the back of the room and it was packed. So I'm becoming like a nervous wreck. So I bring up Mr. Bella. And so he sticks his head in. I'm not even changed yet, and I'm going on in 40 minutes. And he's the first one there. And I look at him, and I'm a big fan, almost like, oh my God, fanboy to him. And so he's, hey, you might want to think about getting ready. So I do. So I was able to shake the nerves. I practiced what I preached in terms of the Navy SEALs breathing stuff, and it happened to work. But here's what occurred, the love connection part. It was really important for me in the very beginning in terms of presentation, communication, to get your footing. Literally, just get comfortable in the situation. Sometimes it happens instantly and sometimes it doesn't, but you can help that. So what I chose to do, and it's the technique I call water the plants. Chris Stevens happened to be one of the plants. There was about 4 corners of the room, and I found 4 of my favorite people. And I started the conversation just by talking to them. Because I knew they wouldn't mess me up. They wouldn't hurt me. They wouldn't make me feel uncomfortable. I knew they'd be there, so I just kept looking at them.
Love that. Water the plants. Water the plants.
Water the plants is what I call it. Literally, the plants are the people that you either invite people to be there or find the people that you know if it's a group setting. Do not look at the people that are looking at their phone or looking at their watch. Start the conversation with people. So I just kept looking at Chris in the beginning, and he was amazing. And he got me through, is what occurred. So that when I began, which folks often in a business communication, the hardest part is the beginning to sound natural. You'll get there, but that sense of, okay, here we go, that can sometimes lead to nerves. So I got to use the physicality that I talk about, the game day physicality, where it's literally just relax your shoulders a little bit, stand up straight, smile a little bit. It sounds like your 4th grade teacher, but that's the physicality I'm talking about, which naturally makes you sound more confident. It makes you sound more energized. The airflow is working in your favor. And then I'm looking at these individuals. So the love connection part was establishing that. And then as I continue to speak, then of course I have the confidence to look around and find everybody. And it's those smiles. It's that sense of engagement. It's someone nodding their head. It's relatable. So all of these pieces that I talk about, the marathon mindset, the game day physicality, the love connection, they all interconnect, but they're all separate pieces. So if you can get somebody just to relate to you and make them feel good, and you're starting talking, what happens? The science. You remember more. Your memory is sharper. You don't have to be as reliant on your materials. Your natural sense of expertise comes into play. And most importantly, if you slip up and make a mistake, stumble, what does that love connection do? It connects you back so that they are more forgiving.
Right. Yeah.
They're easy. They're at this point, once you engage with somebody and have that sense of legit connection, they're going to help you. They're going to volunteer information. They're going to help you with the answers. They're going to make things easier for you. And in turn, that ability to be able, Deidre, I think you talked about it earlier, that sense of helping people and sending flowers and calling them on birthdays. That energy flows so much more naturally if you're in it with somebody else as opposed to just being in it for you.
That's great. John, thank you for that. And talking about all of the engagement and genuine engagement, how would you recommend someone go about transforming someone that they haven't talked to in a long time, or cold, people that are cold, we consider cold, into warm relationships? It happens to everybody in our personal life and our business life. And sometimes we just lose touch with people, And how do you translate that?
God, that to me. I actually, when you were saying it, that actually is such a good question. It was making me slightly uncomfortable because you certainly did your job, and I mean it because that might be one of the tougher things to have on your plate, and everybody does it. We don't all get the benefit of a 50-year reunion that I went to not all that long ago where you can all
Good for
reconnect.
you. Yeah.
And maybe you're not completely connected on Facebook with all of these people so that you don't have that sort of a crutch. But here's what you can do. Doing basic catch-up homework is not hard. So, two things. Number one, I don't mean be a detective, but I do. How hard is it to Google somebody? How hard is it? These are business conversations. Cold listings or coming back or follow up. Check them out on LinkedIn, on social, on YouTube or whatever. Have they done anything? Have they said anything? I don't mean celebrity, have they done anything? I simply mean a lot of people talk about a lot of things. And the most basic, it's we're so lucky now because we don't have to walk up to somebody and say, "So what's been up the last 10 years?" You know what I mean? You just don't
Yeah.
have to. You simply don't have to do that because it was awful. You know what I mean? Because like you do that to someone and they answer always the same way. "Oh, I'm great. I'm fine. What's good? What's up with you?" There's no depth to a hey, catch me up. When you take the basic time, check out a Facebook page, check out and see if they're connected with anybody. Go to LinkedIn. Does anybody know them? Have they been promoted? Have they moved? Has their kid graduated? Something to start a conversation. And here's a visual. Here's a visual that may help. Somebody taught me this years ago, and it always works. And I'll share this as well too. So a colleague of mine at Univision Television Sales was talking about beginning something after a period of time, and he used the visual of a slingshot. And what it is the easiest way to begin a conversation, which is, hey, last time we spoke, we talked about, but the timeline is less relevant. The simple sense of taking a step back so that you can propel forward at least enables you to start a conversation. First off, it's way better than, hey, what's up? It's way better than, oh, hey, how about catching me up? And have you ever heard somebody say, hey, catch me up on what you've been up to? I have, and you're like, why are you giving me an assignment? That's right. It's so do the basics, right? Number one, if you could find anything, oh, I see your kids graduated high school or whatever, something. Be that sense of take a step back. Hey, the last time I sent you some information, I know it's been a while. I get it. I don't expect you to remember, but simply something that allows you to now move forward. You want to, the easiest way I like talking about the visuals because so often it's easier. Easy visual. You want to shorten the playing field is really all you're trying to do. The slingshot enables you to propel forward by taking one step back. If you can catch up a little bit in terms of shortening a playing field, something relatable. And so it should always be about them. And lastly, there's something nice and refreshing when someone, the person who is now trying to reconnect, takes some degree of accountability without turning it into a guilt, like, hey, look, I know it's been forever since we took, I don't expect you to remember a lot. I was thinking of you because.
Yeah.
And finish the sentence with something as close of an approximation of getting somebody to, again, shorten a playing field. Hey, you know what? I know it feels like forever. And I was thinking about you today because.
That's
And
great.
tell them, and simply tell them, hey, look, in your neighborhood, this, or something that, or make it relatable. If you do any one of those three things, even better if you did all three of those three things. None of them take a ton of work, right? You can catch up on somebody socially in a matter of, I don't know, minutes. Find something. And if you can't, that's okay. Bring them back to where you were. And
That's great.
third, literally, hey, I was thinking about you today because,
That's
right?
great. That's great. And it's so genuine,
Yeah,
John. And if you
yeah.
think about it, whether it's a family member, a friend,
Mm-hmm.
or a client, or whatever that is, life happens. It's so easy to
Sure,
lose touch
sure.
with people. And I find that the longer that time period goes,
Mm-hmm.
the harder it is to actually pick up the phone and make that call or send that message.
Sure,
And he said,
sure.
"Hey, it's
Mm-hmm.
been so long, but
Mm-hmm.
thinking of you. How are you? Have you
Mm-hmm.
been?" And yeah, you know what? It's and we just keep on
Mm-hmm.
going. And if we don't reconnect, then we lose sight of it for years to come too.
And
I
then you
love
may
that.
never do it.
I
You may
know. Yeah.
never do it. Like I said, if you a little bit of a little bit of accountability ain't bad. You know what I mean? That's all.
Yeah.
Hey, I know I probably should have called you sooner. In the meantime, I thought about you today because, and
Love that.
now
I
you're
thought
back.
about you today because, which is obviously you're thinking about them. Otherwise,
You wouldn't be
that's
calling
great.
them,
That's
so,
right.
right? And then you begin again.
So
And kind
helpful.
of like
So helpful.
reunions, people catch up fast,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's great.
right?
Love that. That's great advice, John. I appreciate that. And let's switch gears a little bit. And I know that you have a podcast,
Yep.
Your Message Received.
Hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about that. You've shared a lot here with our listeners. I
Yes.
appreciate all of your shares. And what can our listeners learn from your
Hmm.
podcast?
Thank you. So first off, I'm grateful to say we talked about it. I'm about 160 episodes in, and the podcast has morphed, and that makes me happy too. So anyone who's thinking of starting a podcast, guesting on a podcast, you do not have to have every single answer figured out. You don't. However, the intention in the beginning was I was giving voiceover tips is how it began, and it was because that was my concentrated attention after leaving executive sales. I wanted to go all in on a voiceover career and then immediately start a real estate career. So I don't even get that to work, but I'm going to give voiceover tips. And two things happened as it was beginning. I was doing it, but first of all, I was getting bored. And it was just me, and I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And so I chose to start interviewing guests. And so, in the very beginning of it, finding guests, pretty much anyone who said yes. That was great, thanks. And we would talk about whatever. So, it has become the following: trial, error, change, expertise, confidence, whatever the situation is. I help people find their best, most true, authentic business voice. That's the purpose and point of the show. And how I do it is I bring people on who walk the walk. Now, this is business, not voice. It really isn't. To
Right?
me,
Yeah.
what I've chosen to do is I find guests that have the following. We all have resilience stories. And it's not a sad sack show, although I do want people to acknowledge if they've gone through something in a negative way. Acknowledge it. I do now. It doesn't make me feel less confident or less than. So I want people to share their brushback, knockback, get up story because I
Right.
believe it helps other people. I really do. It's what do you do with that? Not wallow in sadness. It's what do you do with that? What changes have you made? And so as a result, that it's what have you done? How have you propelled yourself professionally in order to navigate better, communicate better? I want people on that are strong business people that have been knocked back and gotten back up and can teach me things which we talked about before because there's a little bit of a selfish thing there too. I want to learn and I want to share with my audience. I don't say and I don't profess that I have all the answers. And for God's sake, I hope if somebody says that to you, just run. But I'm not that person. But what I've learned is there is strength in numbers. So the people that I bring on have some business acumen that I think would benefit somebody in real time. And we've talked, so I'm not just relating to your best voice sounding pretty. I'm talking about sounding true. And so the best way to sound true is to be armed with the right information, the ability to be able to navigate in today's business world. And that being said, whether it is the complexities and simplicity of AI, whether it is the ability to leverage and navigate relationships, the ability to drive revenue and lead teams, they're the people that I'm bringing on to the show because I think they help us all.
That's great. So that's great. So for our listeners, let's sign up for your podcast there,
Yep.
subscribe to your
Yep.
message received, and you can get more of John. The let's talk a little bit about, I think that you perhaps have a book coming up.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
what,
God. Here's what I've learned. One of the things, listen, the good and the bad of telling somebody you're writing a book is that then you actually have to go do it, right? So I did that intentionally. I'm in the process, and I did it so it's completed. I wanted to take the intention. It's called, by the way, the hyper authenticity business blueprint. That's the purpose, and it is a
perfect.
summation of the business tips and techniques that we've been talking about on the show. And what I've done and added to that was this: there's a lot of tips, practical techniques, the background as to why those four pillars: million dollar marathon mindset, game day physicality, the love connection, and then I call it tech talk because literally I said, why not? So using all of those fundamental pillars with tips in each and practical examples so that you know that the ability to sound energized and confident is easily transferable. Easily transferable. This is not the day and age of you either have it or you don't. I'm a drastically different speaker than I was when I was in my 30s. I'm a drastically different speaker. But I was almost hyper back in the day. And I used to take that as an insult. Oh, he's so hyper. So the point is, with the actual book, here's the consummate tip, we'll say. The hyper authenticity part is that you become so authentic and laser focused that the person that you're with also becomes authentic too. Not that they're not, but they become more authentic. They become more engaged based on your energy. And so it's not only transferable, it's the ability to be able to actively engage other people. And I added one more thing because why not? So I
Why
added
not?
tips
Why
and
not?
techniques. Why not? Is I'm making it, he says out loud, more personal. And I wanted that. I talk about resilience, and it's one thing to drag other people into the tell me your knockback story. So I figure I'll share my own. And that way it's okay, where I wasn't always feeling confident or wasn't always feeling like a winner, or some of the things that have happened to me and how it impacts growing, not just your growing up part, but how it impacts your ability to be a centered, professional, confident adult, not just in business, but in life as well too. Your life experiences, as I've learned, there's not a single one that I've had, and I've had some rough ones. There is not one single thing that has occurred yet that has had a permanent, lasting imprint, or that has stopped me from doing anything. And so that's the reminder, whether it's age, whether it is lack of training, whether it is, oh, I just don't get to hang out with the right people, or whatever you think your setback is. The reason the hyper authenticity business blueprint matters is not just the tips and techniques, it is a fundamental pivot and shift, and to ease everybody's mind, These are tweaks. That's all this is. These are tweaks and shifts and things that can be done pretty easily and pretty quickly. And so it's not that you have to now completely reinvent yourself or make yourself uncomfortable. You don't. It's the impact that this has as a result. So that's what I'm laying out on paper. And in terms of, it's my coaching program with background as to where it came from me personally. Plus,
And
yeah.
when can our listeners get
Oh
their
my
hands?
God.
Here I ask.
I'm glad you asked. For the same reason we talked about before, forces me to do it. So I told somebody, like I said, the book will be completed soon. When will it be published? Here's a guess. Guess. I'm guessing probably October of this year.
Ooh, all right.
But I'm hustling to make that happen. So that's the intention. The book itself will be done, because it has to be, because I need to get it off my own plate, in about a month. But
Excellent.
I know that's not an instant process of turnaround. So that's where it is. And folks, what I've learned, even in the process, not done, but in the process of putting stuff down, is you'd be amazed at how many things you thought, I'll speak for me, that I thought were rough, awful, that just aren't that bad, right? And that you give yourself way more credit for things that turned out well. And if you can find an answer or two in my book or in my coaching or doing it yourself and figuring it out on your own, it just makes you so formidable in terms of what you're going to be able to do from this point forward, which is all that matters.
Love it. Love it. Okay, we're looking for that in October. We're going to hold you to that, John.
Oh my God.
In,
We're not publishing this, are we?
in wrapping up here, what can you tell me one piece of advice you wish you had 10 years ago?
Let stuff go.
That's
It's that simple. Just let some stuff go. That sense of holding on and hanging on and the cliche white knuckling, if they only knew, honest to God, I can't even tell you how many experiences I cheated myself out of because I was so hanging on to things that just didn't matter all that much. And I'll give you one quick example in the wrapping up part, as I heard. So here's the classic example, right? So I was deathly afraid of being found out that I was gay. Had no problem with other people being gay. None. Great. And people would tell me and everything's awesome. I couldn't let it go. For me, I thought there was some fundamental flaw and I was either going to fix it or correct it or we're going to work around it. And then I remember finally I come out of the closet and I was between 40 and 42 was the process. And I'll never forget the complete lack of surprise from anyone that I shared it with. And anyone, where I was going up to people, my dear friend Karen, who's been a wildly successful business pro for about 30 years, running her own company. I told her something. She was terrified because I'm like, I got to tell you something. No, I can't tell you on the phone. And this, I'm dead serious. I can't tell you on the phone. I got to see you. And she's like, what? So we go to a restaurant. Still remember, it was Park in Philadelphia. And I just want to let you know. And I tell her, she's like, oh, Jesus Christ. That's your big secret. So this was everybody. But what it had cost me was sleep, confidence, going more all in on other things. And it's crazy. So that's the long answer. But the short is really try, for me, continuing trying, let stuff go.
Just let it go. There's a song about that. Let it go.
Just let it go.
How we internalize so much of our own strength and create it most. So
right?
Let it go. I love that advice, John. I love that advice. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you being on with us. That was packed with wisdom from John Duffin. Proof that clear communication isn't just about being heard. It's about building trust, driving results, and fueling growth. If you're ready to amplify your message, build deeper connections, and align your voice with vision, check out John's podcast, Your Message Received. He also has coaching services, and he has an upcoming book, as we discussed, that will be released in hopefully October if all goes as planned, The Hyper Authenticity Business Blueprint.
Yep.
And you can book him as a keynote speaker. Who knew? Thanks for listening to Pending and Trending. Here, we don't just chase success, we build it with intention. Keep growing, keep building wealth, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of Pending and Trending, where hot meets what's happening in real estate. If you found today's conversation helpful, we'd love for you to hit follow or subscribe, leave a quick review, and share the episode with fellow agent or industry pro. Got a trend, tip, or hot take we should be talking about? Send it our way, and we might feature it in an upcoming episode. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay sharp, keep your transactions in motion, and let your energy keep trending.